unpack. We unpack. We unpack. Coming to you live, Boxingego unpack. Yeah. We unpack. We unpack. We unpack. Coming to you live. Deontay the Bronze Bomber Wilder finally responds to Mark Breland interview, sleeping with the enemy, with the UK media. Wilder, you know, he said he was surprised, calls Mark Breland a bit. We're gonna talk about all that in this here video. What up, Fight World? It's your boy Ego, and I'm back with some more boxing. Make sure you smash the like button. Also subscribe to the channel for the latest and greatest in boxing. If you want to become part of the gang notification gang, please hit the bell icon. Let's get it. Deontay Wilder has an exclusive, an exclusive with 7-8 Sports TV. Link in the description. Check out the video. And, you know, this is an exclusive drop where Deontay Wilder, he really speaks his piece on the recent comments from Mark Breland, who was someone who was real close to him. I'm not going to say the exact quotes verbatim, but I will link in the description so you guys can listen to it yourself. I'm just going to go off memory and kind of paraphrase some of the things he was saying. But again, take a listen to that interview and let's talk about it. A lot of people don't want to, you know, talk about it or give credit to the interview because there's a lot of guys in the boxing game that probably can't or won't ever be able to get Deontay Wilder interviews anymore. Oh my God, WBC champion of the world, Tuscaloosa, Alabama, because they've already squandered that opportunity. And the great thing about it, before I get started in what Wilder said, the great thing about this is simple. Deontay Wilder really knows who his true supporters are, and the people who really got him, and the people who are turncoats, you know, the people who are two-faced, things of this nature. And that's a good position to be in because you get to weed out the unnecessary evils. And, you know, a lot of people, they'll get close to you and then they turn their back on you. I think it was the great Nipsey Hussle on the Crenshaw Project. Rest in peace, Neighborhood Nip. Last time that I checked. And he has a line in one of his songs where he said, "Made what you made off going gold way before music. Keep them squares out my circle, nigga, no Rubik's. Cause niggas learn you just to hurt you. I'm like, no Judas. Summertime, top off. Let's get it." Now, that's exactly what it comes to mind when I think of Mark Breland. Keep them squares out my circle, nigga, no Rubik's. Cause niggas learn you just to hurt you. I'm like, no Judas. It's looking like a Judas situation with Deontay the Bronze Bomber Wilder. Somebody in this interview, he had him close to his situation. It was somebody that knows him personally and even played with his kids. And he said for that, it hurt him to see how everything unfolded. And first sign of danger, you know, he ran to the UK and MTK affiliated people, which we'll talk about that, and started blabbermouthing everything he feels and just saying some stuff. And Wilder in this interview, and I suggest you guys all go take a listen to it. It's not too long of a watch, but Wilder was just depicting how, you know, it hurt him. It hurt him that you let somebody into your world and to see this other side of him. It's like some real Harvey Dent, two-faced Judas type of behavior. So, you know, great thing about Wilder is I think he has true supporters, like people who are rocking with him are really rocking with him. There's a lot of people nowadays where, you know, they're fair weather fans. Wilder has a true fan base of people who are rocking with him because it's deeper than just boxing. It's deeper than just, oh, I like him or he knocks people out. There's a lot of fair weather fans, and then when you lose and stuff like that, people jump ship. But you notice Wilder's circle got smaller, but his fan base didn't, you know? And that's because I think Wilder is like kind of our generation's Muhammad Ali type, where he's outspoken. He goes against what you would expect as the norm. He got his own style. And most of all, and most importantly, he represents something beyond this boxing game. Listen, a boxing game is cool, but there's a lot of crooked corruption and things like that. And Wilder just represents something. He represents his people, and he does it unapologetically. That's something you can't buy. A lot of these dudes, they mess around and get money, and then all of a sudden they forget where they came from. They forget about the hardships. They forget about the inner cities. They forget about, you know, maybe their fan base that they started with. But Wilder, no matter what successes he's received, or now this temporary setback or whatever with the Tyson Fury situation, he never forget what he came from and the people that helped him. So I'm sure it was a shock for him to hear and have friends texting him and stuff and saying, hey, Breland talking bad about you, Breland talking bad. Now, this is multiple different interviews. This is Wilder's interview, and then this is in response to Mark Breland's interview. Mark Breland, for those who don't know, let me catch you up to speed. Mark Breland did an interview with the UK, Spencer Farron, some kind of podcast or whatever, and he says Wilder's career is done, and Wilder ain't fought nobody. Wilder, the guys that Wilder has beat, he only beat Luis Ortiz, and Wilder is, you know, his career is finished, because it basically sounded like he was saying that Wilder's lazy, Wilder doesn't have a jab, Wilder doesn't have a good resume, Wilder doesn't hit the heavy bag, he doesn't hit the jump rope. But it's funny because you can find YouTube videos where he's doing all these things, hitting the mitts, jump roping. I think the Boxing Voice got a video of him jump roping, things like that. So it sounded like somebody put a battery in Mark Breland's back, maybe paid him off, and it just is, it is what it is. But it's sad to see Mark Breland go out like this. Wilder seemed like he was speaking with a lot of conviction and a little bit of angst, just to, like I said, you have people that you bring into your world and you split the pie with, you paid and you took care of them. Like, if we're really being honest, when it comes to like top 5 dead or alive in boxing, nobody really just mentioned Mark Breland. You know, that's just, I'm not taking away from his career and his accomplishments. He is an Olympian, but you ain't never known somebody who said their favorite fighter was Mark Breland, you know, or put him in the top 5 dead or alive, and that's off one LP. You ain't really known that. And even as a trainer, I'm not saying he's a poor trainer, but you don't really, he's not known. Freddie Roach is known for having a crazy stable with the Miguel Cottos and Manny Pacquiao. So realistically, when Mark Breland in today's kind of society would be more so irrelevant, Wilder breathed new life into his career because he had a winning streak when he was knocking people out and stuff like that, and he brought you into that world. So to see someone bring you into this situation and you remain mum and quiet and silent for almost a year, and then the week that MTK Global documentary exposing some of the negative Nancy things, and the fact that they're saying that Kinahan and Tyson Fury's advisor and his company is founded on drug money and money laundering and executions and hits, and the week that comes out, within 7 days, you conveniently partner with the MTK affiliate, and then you do your first Let Me Break the Silence interview over there. So I think we know what time it is. You guys could say whatever, but Wilder seems very justified in his actions. So it would seem that old media, they said Wilder was crazy, he was a lunatic, but as things unfold over time, he don't look so crazy. It don't look like what he was saying was so unwarranted, if you will. For example, when Wilder first started coming out with these allegations of somebody spiked my water, somebody did something to me, that wasn't me in there, I felt like a zombie, you know, I had people working against me, and these types of things. When he first started saying that, old media said, how dare you fire Mark Breland when he first got fired. So first of all, let's start off with this. Mark Breland, nobody gave 2 pieces of pit bull shit about Breland until he got fired. Let's keep that all the way real. All of a sudden, you know, 2020 and beyond, after he got fired, it got canned from Wilder. Breland, you know, all these Breland apologists appeared out of nowhere, and people were like, yo, why would you do this to Breland? This is the only person on your team that cared about you. That's what they were saying. This is the only man who cared about you and he saved your life. In fact, this interview that Breland just did, that's one of the ways they were advertising it. They said the man that saved Deontay Wilder's life, right? So if this is the man that saved Wilder's life and this is the man that so cared about Deontay Wilder, tell me why a year later, when the MTK Global Panorama BBC program, which one of the producers or of that documentary just got their life threatened with a death threat, tell me why he just decides to go over there and do this interview after you've been fired. You've been gone. You've been split from the team. It's looking real shaky. And again, they said, old media, they said this is the man that cared about you the most. But you just said that his resume sucks. He ain't got no jab. He don't hit the heavy bag. You don't hit the speed bag. And you make Wilder sound like he's lousy, or you're trying to. So does this sound like a person who is the only man that cares about Deontay Wilder? Because there's a great Tupac quote, and I don't want to slaughter it, so let me pull it up. The great Tupac Shakur once said, "Just because you lost me as a friend doesn't mean you gained me as an enemy. I'm bigger than that. I still want to see you eat, just not at my table." Now, that could apply if Mark Breland's character was different. You know, he says, just because you lost me as a friend doesn't mean you gained me as an enemy. I'm bigger than that. I want to see you eat, just not at my table. Like, I'm not breaking bread with you, but I don't wish, in layman's terms, I don't wish the worst for you. I don't want nothing bad to happen to you. But Mark Breland, you know, what are you expecting to gain by putting all this negative press out on Deontay the Bronze Bomber Wilder? So I rock with Wilder. And the crazy thing about it is this. At the end of the day, people still rocking with Deontay Wilder. Breland, go move to the UK then. You know what I'm saying? Like, good luck getting a fighter from America, where you probably stay, getting a training gig with them. So what Mark Breland did was foul. You know, he remained silent, and then he randomly pops back up saying all this crazy stuff. And it's just, what's the point? You're older than Wilder. Like, it's funny that in boxing, old media wants people to be the bigger person, but then they encourage people like Mark Breland to not be the bigger person. Like, for example, they say Errol Spence, he should just fight Terrence Crawford, even though you worked so hard to become the A side and all that. Put all that aside and be the bigger person and work with Top Rank and Terrence Crawford to make the fight. But then they don't tell Mark Breland, hey, you know, just get off it. You know, people say Deontay Wilder, just move on, get over the loss. You're making excuses, just get over it. But they're not telling that to Mark Breland. They're not telling Mark Breland, hey man, just get over it. You already got fired on your day off. You were still in boxes. You were spiking drinks. Just get over it and move on. You know, go on with your career. So all in all, what Wilder said and the premise of what he's been saying, now it looks even more plausible. Even if you didn't believe it before, it looks more plausible. The man basically accused people of turning on him, just like when Tupac got shot in New York at Quad Studios, right? He said, oh, you didn't know? Biggie's homeboy shot you, because they bragging. And Pac swore up and down that people close to him, Big Stretch, Biggie, Bad Boy, Puffy, they knew that he was about to get blasted on and robbed and stuff, and they didn't warn him. And he's like, these are people that I clothed and sheltered and breathed new life into. How could they cross me like this? You know what I mean? Like, I let Biggie rock my shows and open up for me when nobody knew him. He said I used to have to beg to have sex with Biggie. You know, how could he do this to me? And that's kind of what Wilder is like, his situation. Like, bro, nobody was even worried about Breland. Nobody was training with him. He had no real, like, prominent fighters. And it's sad to see him go out like this. It's sad to see him, like, you know, so public and, you know, making it look messy. And then how he did it. Like, you would have got more respect if you said the same BS that you're saying to regular, more neutral American media. You know, you're an American fighter, represented the USA, but you running over to the UK to do interviews. Yeah, and it's a interview with quotables and breaking the silence and tearing through and ripping Wilder. Yeah, that sounds legit. You know what I mean? So Mark Breland, like, it's over. He said somebody's career is over. Wilder said his career is over, and I agree, because I'm really off Mark Breland. Everything that Wilder said, you're not furthering. You're not putting distance between that. You're not making people feel that by your actions, the stuff Wilder was saying, that isn't you, that isn't your character. Wilder basically said you set him up, and then you try to blame JD's, and JD's was probably trying to cover for you, and then you threw JD's under the bus and said he's the one that did it. And then Wilder said in this interview, nah, you did it. And it just goes to show you that what's done in the dark comes to light, and people's character, it will come out if you pay attention. So I don't know what's going on. I don't know who infiltrated, or I don't know if he got paid off to do it or whatever, but very bad look for Mark Breland. And you can say what you want, and either way, it doesn't, bro, I'm still rocking with Wilder. I'm still watching this fight. I don't care about Tyson Fury. I don't care about his next fight unless it's Wilder. So what are you hoping to gain? You said Wilder's career is over, but that in itself is stupid. I mean, I could go on all day on this subject. I'll probably split this into multiple videos. Wilder's a knockout artist, so it's never over for him unless you could not get hit, you know? You always have a chance. And I got so much to say. I'll probably, like I said, I'm going to keep this video. I'm going to cut it right here, but I got a lot of stuff. Stay tuned to the channel. I'll be talking about this extensively. There's a lot more that I still want to say. Mark Breland, he's looking real two-faced and real Judah-ish and real fake. Why, if Wilder he said Wilder could never beat Tyson Fury, then why are you on my side? Why would I want a coach or a trainer who feels that no matter what, even though I'm a knockout artist and I put Fury on his back, that's not good enough? I don't have what it takes to beat Fury. Then how can you successfully lead me to the promised land and coach me if you don't even have faith in me? And I have all this power. I have God-gifted power, which could change any dynamic, but you think that Tyson Fury is so superior that I can't beat him. Why would I want someone like that on my team? You know, that's like, you're supposed to have people who actually encourage you and push you to your limits, because there's a lot of things in this world. The mind is a very powerful vessel. There's a lot of things that it sounds, I think it was Nelson Mandela that came out with this quote. It sounds impossible until somebody does it. So people can get better. People can learn. We're humans. Our brains are a very complex mechanism. You know, why would I want someone on my team that's saying I never had a chance against Tyson Fury and I have all this power? So what am I paying you for? What type of coach is you? Like, what type of coach, coaching job are you doing if Wilder lacks all this stuff and you've been rocking with it, collecting a paycheck, and you thought all along that he wasn't good and his resume sucked? So Wilder was right just off of that premise. You a weasel, you a snake, you two-faced, Harvey Dent. You was up here collecting paychecks knowing I had no chance, or even believing I had no chance, because I don't believe that Deontay Wilder has no chance. And while Mark Breland's trying to throw him under the bus for whatever his motive is or reason, he makes himself look bad, because how Wilder went out and did something that no heavyweight, Mike Tyson, Evander Holyfield, James Toney, great heavyweights before him, Ernie Shavers, guys with power did, and he don't jump rope, he don't hit the heavy bag. He said in an interview in the past he don't run, right? You making him sound like he's lazy. You making him sound like he has skills. So Wilder is a true anomaly. He is this generation's kind of Roy Jones Jr. anomaly. If he's so athletic and he possesses so much power, he could bypass all these other skills and lack everything, and he still got 43-0 and pretty much hurt and knocked out everybody he's ever fought. You see what I'm saying? So that's God tier ability. So I hope Wilder comes back strong. Either way, I'm gonna support it, because I like his character. Mark Breland, I can't say the same thing. Drop your thoughts in the comment section. Gang, gang.
So if you enjoyed this video and want more content like this on the channel, you can show your appreciation by going to the PayPal donate button or the YouTube support button, and you can donate any amount that you feel is equivalent to the value of this video. Much more to come. Thank you guys for your support. Boxingego, the future of boxing.